7 Chinese nationals have been arrested in South Africa in connection with the 2019 discovery of a human trafficking ring. The Chinese nationals have been found guilty on 158 of the 160 charges that they faced. The group was convicted for numerous charges, including human trafficking and labor law violations, besides breach.
Must go to our father's land. So. Yeah, you must sir. Everybody's going.
There's a difference between being an African and being a South African. What's the difference? Are you not African? I don't quite understand it, and I hope you could give me some clarity. What does this even mean?
The understanding and knowledge of South Africa is the beginning of wisdom. Before you throw me out through the windows, I would oblige you kindly listen and watch till the very end to understand the reason why I actually made this statement, okay? Before then, I would love you, if you are actually new here, you're welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in to see what we have going on here for today's episode. My newbies, I would kindly oblige you. Hit on the subscription button. It's totally and absolutely free of charge, right? And please do not forget as well to like, share to as many as possible that you would love to see this video for more exposition, so that they can understand that there are people who act and think differently, okay? And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's quickly delve into what we are here for today. Now, knowing fully well that we have approximately over 50-something countries in the continent of Africa, and knowing that every country is uniquely different based on their laws that is binding and guiding on them, right? It is also important we know that it is our duty, our responsibility, that as citizens cut across different countries, we are obligated, we are mandated that no matter where we find ourselves, first, we must get into each other's country legally and not illegally. Secondly, abiding to the laws, the rules, and the regulation of that country. And cohabiting, existing peacefully, lovingly with the original, the indigenes of the said country you find yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think it is no longer news at this point that some citizens, foreigners in the country South Africa, right, have actually been asked to leave the country, particularly my beloved country, Nigeria. In this video clip, I am about to play for us to take a close and in-depth look at video clips of my own country citizens, Nigeria, as well reactions from other citizens of South Africa based off what is trending and ongoing in South Africa, right? And as well, another illustration, example of Chinese in the country, South Africa, who are also illegal, how they all are being handled by the law of South Africa. Now, this is no disrespect, this is no infringement, neither is this to demean, demote, demarket any country, but it is taking clear picture, clear look, exposition, reaction, and analysis of this trending issue going on between South Africa, Nigeria, and other foreign nationals in the country of South Africa. I would allow these video clips to play. I would not intercept, right? Because some of you do not enjoy interception. Let them play, roll, and I will oblige and plead you watch patiently till the end, paying attention to details, right? I trust each and every one of you because you people are very articulating, patient in watching and observing on here on this space, so I totally can relate, right? Then at the end of the day, I would come back and deliberate more on this. Let's take a look at this.
The 7 Chinese nationals have been arrested in South Africa in connection with the 2019 discovery of a human trafficking ring. The Chinese nationals have been found guilty on 158 of the 160 charges that they faced. The group was convicted for numerous charges, including human trafficking and labor law violations, besides breaches of occupational health and safety regulations. The police has received a tip-off about an illegal factory employing foreign nationals, prompting them to conduct a raid. Following the raid, a police investigation found that between 2017 and 2019, the accused had employed 91 undocumented Malawian nationals, including 16 minors in the age group of 14 to 16. The victims were confined to the factory premises that had a high wall, a razor fence and armed guards controlling their movements. The foreigners were forced to work 11-hour shifts 7 days a week without training or safety equipment, and the High Court judge recounted the testimonies of some workers, including the one who was denied medical care after losing a finger. The security and workers were often threatened with firearms and then subjected to extreme control.
Ruling on beautiful cities, indeed a great ruling in terms of employment laws, and the judge has gone further to define who the employer is and to make sure that those that would contravene employment laws are not left unchallenged in this country. And this set a very good precedent at the High Court level for the first time that labor exploitation has been taken to that extent, and also a finding being the labor exploitation. And this sends a very good message towards those that employ foreign nationals without documentation and those that would also travel on labor laws, including safety.
Our correspondent Calvin Ong, who has sent us this report from Johannesburg. Listen in.
South Africa has one of the largest Chinese population in Africa. Most live in Johannesburg, which is the economic hub of the country. Most operate businesses in various sectors of the industry, employing locals and foreigners. However, not everyone seems to be following the rules of South Africa. In this case of 7 Chinese individuals, police provided evidence, calling several employees, mostly Malawian nationals, who testified about being deceived by their Chinese employer. Most of them, who had previously worked for Chinese-owned factories, were recruited under false pretense. The victims described harsh conditions, including being transported in windowless trucks to the factory where they were not allowed to leave. The case against the 7 who has been convicted of human trafficking has been postponed to March 7th to allow the state and the defense to prepare for sentencing. This is Calvin Ong from Johannesburg, South Africa for We On World is One.
All of us that we must go, nah? That we must go to our father's land. So yeah, you get muscle, sir. Everybody's going. South Africa says they must go back home. They didn't need them anymore, which is wrong. Now people are doing business. He doesn't want them to do their business. Like this is chasing them around. What about people are selling drugs? Why can't you go and chase them? The only power where people are doing business is South Africa. This is 65 the pillars.
Men we sabi the when car not dey there but one I want to sell
not be small, so many things are happening. They destroy many things. So we are destroying it. Medicine of an over that. Small well, she said they don't do anything. They just want to destroy what they do. See, they don't go. Don't say they want to work. They just want to destroy our market. Brother, they don't care about basket. Drama. Okay, so.
Come on again. Apa ya? Hello, back. Apa ya?
Ụtụtụ ọma ndị be anyị nọ na Jimistin. Ya ihe a na-evidio na-abụ ndị eke ka ha si kwado tata. Anyị amaghị etiti ebe ha na-aga agabata n'iru police station, as you can see. Ha nọ na ha ka nkụ even ebe 4 ka ha bido kwadowe ha, but chefuchabeghị mgba ka enweta clear picture, but n'otu ka ha si dị. So onye na-aga ebe ọ na-aga, be careful n'ụbọchị taa. Ndị be anyị niile nọ na Jimistin, so na-ewetara unu information so that
you start thinking about other countries or running away to other countries or being interested in other countries or wanting to like combine with other people so you can form one country. No, first focus on your country, fix your country, and then when that is out of the way, you can now focus on the broader picture. You want to start there at the top, but you are failing to develop your country. How are you going to develop Africa when you are failing to develop a small country?
So there is a difference between being an African and being a South African. What's the difference? Are you not African? I don't quite understand it, and I hope you could give me some clarity. What does this even mean? You literally have African in your name. What does this even mean? There's a difference between being an African and being a South African. Oh my days, I am trying to understand this. What do you even mean by that? What do you even mean by that? I don't understand what you mean. Well, I think I do. I just don't want to say it, but I would love you to explain it to me. Are you better than other Africans? And if you think you're better than other Africans, can you explain to me why you think you're better than other Africans? I am quite fascinated by that. And I'm quite curious to hear your explanation, because I want to know why you think you're better than... I want to hear why you think you're better than other Africans, because you're a bit more developed. That's why you think there's a difference between being African and South African, or because I'm quite curious, because I want to hear why you think there's a difference between being South African and African, just by the fact that you have African in your name. But I guess there's a difference, so I'm quite curious to hear. Man.
Last year, I really thought we explained this whole thing and everyone understood. It's sad for me to see that these foreigners still don't understand, or they like to act as if they don't understand, just to gaslight us as South Africans or what. I really don't get it, because it's not that hard to understand. It's not that hard to understand. We are not saying we are better than other Africans. We are not saying we are not Africans. What we are saying is we are South Africans first before we are Africans, which simply means we are going to focus on South Africa, our country, first before we can focus on Africa as a continent. We are going to focus on ourselves as South Africans first, until we develop ourselves as South Africans, until we become what we want to become. And then we will shift our focus into looking at a broader picture of being an African. Being an African is simply being born in Africa. You are an African. Or being black. Some people like to say or being black, but there are some black people who are not African. There are some people who have melanin in their skin but never set foot here in Africa before. So to me, being African is just living and being born in Africa. Then you are African, But let me tell you something. When I was born, when I related with is South Africa. Being a South African, from a young age, I've learned the national anthem of South Africa. I didn't even realize that I am an African before I realized that I am South African. I first understood that I am South African, and what is important is South Africa. Everything about South Africa, the Rainbow Nation. I learned everything about South Africa, what the coat of arms means, everything that has to do with South Africa. So South Africa has a very special spot in my heart. And then later when I grew up, I then realized that, oh, so it's a bunch of us who are Africans who are living here in Africa. It's cool, it's interesting. There are other people who are black like me who are here in Africa. It's fine. I now understood and related. Okay, I'm an African like these other Africans. But that does not change the fact that I am South African first. I am going to look out for the interests of South Africa first before I focus on the broader picture of being an African.
Street and selling the guys. But this is a follow-up in terms of other images that are coming out on social media. What is happening in our country? Let me tell you, Johannesburg, the inner city, CBD, they've taken over our city, and we can see our law enforcement, they're trying to clean up our city so we can gain back our city. Because let me tell you, what these people are doing to our country, they're taking that mentality, what they're doing in their countries to South Africa. That's not how things works in this country, guys. And let me tell you, I would say 99% of them, they're illegal, and almost all of them, guys, if you see them selling whatever they're selling in the street, look, the requirement of anybody to start having business in our country, you need to invest at least 5 million. You cannot invest 5 million and go sit in the street and sell in the street. That is the honest truth. Most people who have invested that money, they've probably own like a franchise business, like your KFC, your Nando's, or whatever business, but they're not standing in the corner. Is to prove to you those people that are illegal in our country and they're doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, and they think because they're standing in the corner, they are allowed to be selling whatever. You are not even allowed to sell anything. Those jobs are meant for the citizens of this country. They are not meant for any foreigners. That is our law. So the problem, they don't read our laws, they don't read our constitution, so they think they can just come to our country and do as they please. But let me play you just a few clips, because we can come back to what I'm talking about, so I can show you what these people are doing. But I am extremely happy to see our law enforcement working hard, but there's still many cities that need to be clean. Even Johannesburg, we want our law enforcement not to stop what they're doing. This must be an everyday thing, that they must go to this street and clean up our street, and they must go to these big businesses and go see who are the people employed in all of this business. It's not to target small business, it's to go to all of this all the big restaurants, all the big supermarkets, to go see who are the people who are employed in those businesses, because our people are suffering with no jobs. We're going to put our people first. We cannot put our people first. But
this is quite a lot, like a lot. First off, I will start with the reactions on the video clips of my Nigerian citizens leaving South Africa. Based on the video we have just watched, it is not just disheartening, but also a painful thing to see my own country's citizens being chased out of other people's country as though they do not have a home, as though they do not have a country, an origin, and a place where they migrated from. Now, don't get it twisted. I will definitely be so objective and very careful not to even make this an object of ridicule or caricature, but stating it as facts and figures, nothing but the bitter and the brutal truth, right? Why did I say that these people actually look and act as though they do not have a home? It's because from the beginning, from the foundation, you would want to ask, why did they even leave their country in the first place? Which is what? Wrong foundation, wrong background, and wrong history from their country in terms of what? Corruption that has eaten and deteriorated the country Nigeria. That definitely makes most of these citizens you see here leave the country, and that is owed to the bad leadership and government of my country Nigeria. Because if the country is stable, working at least to a good extent, I think most of these people would see no reason to even leave and migrate to other people's country illegally. Because let it be on record that these people are there illegally, and not just there illegally, they are doing things that are not abiding in correlation, in line, in synchronym, and in acceptance of the government of South Africa. Of course, don't get it twisted. There are other foreign nationals, foreign citizens of not just Nigeria alone, that are also there in the country South Africa, legally well registered, doing their businesses the right way, the right path, according to the law. Now, this is where the line is drawn. Based off what we watched from our own South African citizens reacting to this, you would not expect less from them because, like you've rightly heard, we are all Africans from different countries, like I earlier on said, before we can identify with our own original identity of our country, right? Call it Nigeria, call it Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Namibia. Every single country in Africa falls under the continent of Africa. Originally, we own the right to our individual countries. We have the right to stand, to build, to protect and defend our country. So is South Africa taking its course and stand. And that's why I do not fault them and cannot fault them, right? Like we have rightly heard, it is their obligation as they are doing, not just as a government, not just as a people and as a citizen, but as a culture that is predominant with them, to always identify with their roots, stand to defend their roots, and protect nothing but the country they call their own, as much as each and every one of us do have our country. Now, the question will be, why at this point do Nigerians still don't get the fact that they are expected not to flock into other people's country with enough energy, with enough passion and resilience to hustle, to go into people's country, to hustle and do things outside and against the law of the country, but rather taking that same energy right back home and imputing it in our own beloved country to get nothing but the best. Now, is it better this way than maybe you or we stay back home, at least majority of us, if not all, and focus on our country to build our country? At this point, I want to feel so emotional. I want to become so emotional because as a Nigerian, it's saddening, it's heartbreaking to see that we go through these things in almost every country we visit. Because first off, most of us, most Nigerians go there illegally, and when being found guilty, are being deported back home, which is the reason for this deportation. We also cited it in the foreign nationals from China as well in the clip, and it could tell you that it is not just exhibited to Nigerians alone. Before you stigmatize it and begin to fault South Africans, it is applicable to every foreigner, no matter your race, your color, your country. Two, always come the right way, abide by the laws, the rules of the country. Now, if you look at a clear picture of what was being displayed on the street, how dirty, littered, and I could not even really place my mind around the city. Now, it correlates with what we see if you are a truthful Nigerian. Let me not say West African, because there are so many countries in West Africa that are literally different and are acting the right way, right? For instance, the country Ghana, Togo, and the rest of them, Gambia, Burkina Faso, and the rest of others. But when I want to streamline it to my country, Nigeria, I can look at you in the eyes and tell you that this kind of attitude, lawless behavior of opening business on the road, along the road, has taken over the system of Nigeria. We can see that display in almost every developed city in Nigeria. I would not want to even go as far as going out on my street to take a record or a video of what most cities actually, most places actually in my city looks like, because of attitude and behavior of our own citizens, indigenous and even external citizens from other regions and states in Nigeria. In the city I live, these people literally will use the walkway, like the highway that is supposed to be meant for vehicles, to sell, trade, and do all manner of sort of business on the highway by the roadside. Meanwhile, this set of people do not even remit or pay taxes, maybe eventually to hoodlums that they call Abero, right? All in the name of local tax force. They eventually do not remit taxes. They live lawlessly. They operate lawlessly, carelessly, endangering not just their lives alone, but the lives of other passerbys, other citizens, indigents. Because at the end of the day, this is really, really uncalled for. This is really, really unnecessary, and this is really, really all shades of wrong. Because if you want to trade and do business, there should be the right way and the right path. Register, get a shop well allocated, that is well positioned in strategic places, not by the roadside, littering everywhere, turning the whole city to a market and a dirty place is all shades of wrong. And you think because it is, overlooked here in Nigeria, then every other country you find yourself will accept it? Absolutely no way. And this is why I said in my first sentence that the beginning, the understanding and knowledge of South Africa is the beginning of wisdom. Now you get it, right? I would want to feel pity for your situations or for their situations, but absolutely no, because we do not learn, we do not advise ourselves, we do not take correction, even when corrected, even as I am seated here talking and ranting. Best believe that they still will not get it. Like, they will not get it, except they face embarrassing situations like this and even more. Look at what has been going on in the US, Canada, UK, and the rest of the other Western European British country. And now in Africa, you see and find a country like South Africa doing same. When you want to say, oh, it is xenophobic, it is hatred, it is hate, it is jealousy, it is bitterness, because you actually do think South Africa is in Africa. I laugh in Spanish, I laugh in French, because this is a big joke. Now to South Africans, I would say massive kudos to you for always proving me right by standing on nothing but the path of truth, lawfulness and not lawlessness, cleanliness and not dirtiness, right? Sanitizing your country, it's a big deal, and you guys are always taking that good step. I truly commend and recommend and appreciate all you guys do out there to protect and defend your country. And this is a wake-up call, an eye-opener to us as Nigerians, as other nationals, other country citizens right there in the country South Africa, to wake up, learn. If they give you a dirty slap and say get out, go back home and build your own country, because that is all we have. Nobody can take your country, and you should not go and take other people's country. If you must be there the right way, the right path, and nothing more, nothing less, right? I can definitely beat my chest and attest to you that there are other foreign nationals living, coexisting there, abiding to the laws the right way and the right path, and they don't have issues and will never do, right? All these depicts, all these illustrates, narrate and expose to us is we all have our countries. So forget about who is blabbing, gibbering and all whatnot. It doesn't count. Take that energy, come back. You guys come back. You're highly welcome. Safe journey back home. Let's build our country. Whatever you have learned from South Africans, come and apply it the right way. I don't mean the negative things. Come and apply the right things you have learned. Of course, I believe that they have taught you a lot. Apply it. Let's build our country, Nigeria, because this is all we have. Let's exude the energy we use against ourselves as individuals, as citizens, on our illegitimate leaders, corrupt leaders that has contributed to what we are facing today. And yes, our own irresponsible attitude, character and behavior should be stopped, and do the right thing. Yes, so that when we talk, we will talk with confidence and boldness that yes, we are on the right path. Not when you are committing crime and doing the wrong things, you would not have the courage to sit and talk or correct the next person. Come back home, my beloved brothers and sisters. Enough is enough of all this embarrassment everywhere you go, like MTN being chased back, because you do not just go there, abide to the laws, the rules, even going through the right path, but going to display this whole thing you people do back home here, thinking they are the right thing. Now you see, when you do not train up a child the way he or she would go in a nutshell, at the end of the day, that child will grow up, go out there in the society, in the larger society, and become an embarrassment and a nuisance to you. Then at the end of the day, who suffers the shame? The parents. But at this point, I guess and best believe most of us are shameless, because for me personally, I am embarrassed. I feel embarrassed. I feel ashamed. I feel pained. It's a slap to me as a citizen of Nigeria when I come online and see things like this, and I will ask, Should we get to this point? Should he get to this point? Don't we have a country as blessed, as massive as Nigeria, blessed with everything humanly possible, naturally possible, given to us by God, that we can develop, build, nurture, nourish, and make it our own? And yes, until then, before I can beat my chest to say that Nigeria is on the spotlight of what is rising, a nourishing, a growing, a productive country. But until then, we still have a lot and a long way to go. So with all this being said, whether you're a Nigerian, a citizen of any country, in any country you find yourself, ask yourself, I know that greener pasture is inevitable. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Your presence in that country, your time being wasted. Remember, any time wasted can never be regained. You spend 20, 10, 15, 40, 50 years of your life in another man's country, claiming you are developing and building their country. For what exactly? When yours is languishing and going down the drain. Do you know what will become of every country if its citizens and indigenes go back home and develop their country? Own it to your full chest. Do you know what will become of the continent of Africa? Leave your answer in the comment section, because at this point, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is that time where South Africa has distinguished, exempted themselves, and stood out to the whole world that yes, come rain, come shine, they understand what it is to own, develop, build, manage, and sustain a country. Even in their imperfections, they are trying their best to make it perfect. They do not even deny their weaknesses, right? But they take strength from their weaknesses. They draw strength from their weaknesses. This and more is what most of us should learn from them. I have learned a lot personally as an individual from South Africa and other countries like Ghana, name them, Gambia, Burkina Faso, and I need us to continue to learn from each other. There's nothing wrong, no shame in that. Taking correction, this is not just an embarrassment, but yes, a wake-up call. Take it as a lemon and make it into lemonade. Come back and build your country. Let this be that slap that wake you up to your reality and push you as a driving force to take back what belongs to us as our country and own it and leave it. For how long will our leaders continue to trample upon us, continue to shut us up, continue to unalive us? How long are we going to continue to become a pain, a problem even to our own selves as citizens of Nigeria? That every single day, we are the pain of ourselves. We are the tears, the reason why we actually tear up because of the evil, the crime, the wickedness we perpetrate to ourselves. For how long? For how long exactly? I would actually leave us at this point to leave our answers in the comment section, because it is really hurting. It's painful to see that the only place we call home is not truly home as Nigerians, and that's the reason why we continuously face this shame, humiliation, and embarrassment from not just African countries but other countries. Dear Nigerians, this is a cry, this is a plea to each and every one of us. When I watched that video clip, I felt pity, I felt pained, and I asked, why? Why should we go through all this? What did we do to deserve this? Why and for how long? Let's talk in the comment section. A lot has been said, and I, the life of an African woman, will see you in my next one. For now, keeping it real, happy, safe out there, and blessed. Well done, South Africa. Well done, every citizen cut across different countries in Africa. God bless us. One Africa. United we stand. Remember, divided we fall. Amongst our imperfections, our weaknesses, we will be strengthened. Thank you. God bless you. Till then, I'll see you in my next one. Ciao, ciao.